Over the last few episodes this month, we've been tracing a kind of emotional map, one that many men quietly walk without words. We started by naming what so often stays hidden, the silence and shame that block real healing for some. Then, we explored how modern life, full of easy dopamine hits and eroded routines, can blur our sense of direction and how purpose and steady relationships begin to rebuild it. From there, we redefine strength itself, not as armor, but as flexibility. The ability to stay grounded while being open to connect through small, daily reciprocity rather than isolation. And today, we're closing the loop. Because once we've learned to speak, to focus, and to connect, there's one more frontier left, to give. I'm Dr. David Danish, a double board certified psychiatrist specializing in child, adolescent, and adult psychiatry. This is the final part of the series. We're talking about mentorship, not as charity, but as one of the most practical and meaningful ways to restore purpose, both for the next generation and for ourselves. Stay with me until the end because I'll share a simple list of ways you can start mentoring this week, even if you only have an hour to give a week. For most of human history, purpose was not something that was hard to find. It was woven into daily life. You learned purpose by watching the people ahead of you, how they handled failure, how they treated others, how they kept showing up, what was important to them. Those examples became your map. But today, those maps are fading. Many of the places that offered this shared meaning, teams, faith groups, apprenticeships, even stable workplaces, have thinned. What's left is a culture full of stimulation, but short on structure. We scroll, we react, we compare ourselves to others, but we rarely feel like we belong. And yet, when someone steps into your life and simply says, let's figure this out together, it rewires something deep. It tells your nervous system, you're not invisible. You're not doing this alone. That's why mentorship matters. It's not charity, it's a quiet kind of medicine. One that nourishes the very parts of us that modern life neglects: identity, agency, and belonging. Think about a time someone really saw you, not your performance, not your potential, but you. Maybe it was a teacher who noticed when you stopped showing up, or a coach who didn't just yell from the sidelines, but asked what was really going on. Moments like that don't just help, they shape us. The way we talk to ourselves, the small private sentences that steer our lives, often echo the voices of people who once believed in us. It helps the mentee rewrite their internal story. A young man who's used to hearing, "You're lazy," starts to hear, "You're capable." A mentor is not giving a new identity here. A mentor is just holding a mirror up long enough for the mentee to recognize the one that was already there. We love to romanticize big transformations, but meaning does not come from breakthroughs. It comes from rhythm, steady rhythm. From the small, predictable moments that say, I'll be here next week. When a mentor shows up consistently, something powerful happens for the mentee and the mentor. Reliability starts to feel safe, and safety allows growth. That's when a mentee begins to take risks, trying out for a new team, applying for that job, reaching a little further than before, because someone has shown them that effort and outcome are connected. The same thing happens for the mentor. Each meeting becomes a kind of anchor in their own week, a reminder that they still have something to give. That's the second quiet truth of mentorship. It does not just benefit the young, it renews the grown. We often frame helping others as selfless, but real mentorship is deeply reciprocal. When you invest in someone else's growth as a mentor, your own sense of purpose widens tremendously. You start to feel tethered again to a story bigger than your own. Your small piece of consistency becomes part of a shared recovery from disconnection. And that recovery goes both ways. Many mentors describe an unexpected emotional lift, less loneliness, more purpose, more optimism. Because it turns out showing up for someone else is one of the most reliable ways to remind yourself that your life still matters. Mentorship at its best is not about teaching, it's about witnessing. It's sitting next to someone and saying, I see your effort. Let's build from here. We're currently living through what some have called a crisis of belonging, especially among young men. There's this quiet erosion of direction, not because they lack drive, but because they've lost the places where drive gets shaped. When meaning on this level disappears, performance cannot replace it. And that's why mentorship feels so urgent right now. It does not require a new app, a special credential, or a sweeping social reform. It doesn't require new classes for you to take. It just asks ordinary people to do something extraordinary, something different, to care consistently. Even 1 hour a week can reset someone's trajectory in major ways, and it can reset yours as well. Because in a world where everything is instant, depth is the rarest gift you can give and receive. Now, let's talk about where to start. You don't have to join a national program to make a difference, though those are incredible places to begin if you want. You can start where you already are. Maybe it's something as simple as inviting the college intern at your office to grab coffee once a month. Maybe it's checking in on the high school athlete you used to coach. Maybe it's simply sending a text message that says, "Hey, I've been where you're at. Want to talk sometime?" The key is not volume here, it's reliability. Purpose grows best in predictable soil. One steady relationship in this context outperforms a dozen inspirational speeches every time. So if you're wondering whether you're qualified as a mentor, remember this: the best mentors are not experts. They're steady people who listen, who show up, and who remind others that effort counts, and remind others that they count. If you've ever found yourself thinking, someone should really step up for that person, that someone might be you. Not because you have everything figured out already, but because you remember what it felt like not to. Think about the person who once showed up for you when they didn't have to. Maybe they helped you apply for something. Maybe they just stayed long enough to listen to you. That's the feeling to pay forward. You don't need a script. You just need to model two things: belief and follow through. Belief says to them, "I see what you can become." And follow through says, "And I'll help you take the next small step." Together, those two messages can rebuild a life. And over time, they rebuild the person giving them too. If you pause right now, one name might come to mind. Someone who could use a little guidance, or maybe just a sense that they matter. Write that name down. And before today ends, do one small thing to show up for them. Send the text, send the article, schedule the coffee, offer a call. You might think you're helping them find their footing, but what you're really doing is helping both of you remember what purpose feels like. Not just as a vague idea, but as a shared rhythm of care and of connection. If this resonated at all, please like, please subscribe. It helps get the word out there. And also, please share it with someone else. They might just be waiting for a mentor or waiting to become a mentee.